Everybody wants to bash on Gen Z, but did you guys know that Gen Alpha can't read? I was talking to one of our church kids and he very boldly told me, yeah, I don't know how to read and neither does anybody in my class. Mind you, this kid is starting 5th grade in August, okay? And I thought he was playing, so I told him, kids will do anything for money. So I was like, I'll give you $10 if you could tell me what this bag says. It said chips in giant letters. And I said, you could sound it out, you could try spelling it or whatever to help you read it. Because I thought he was lying. So this dude goes, CHIPS. And I go, what does that say? And he goes, potatoes. Y'all, we're cooked as a society.
So American kids can't read. Surprise, surprise. There is a literacy crisis in America. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the death of literacy as we know it. And as you can imagine, teachers in America are up in arms, as they should. It's extremely hard to deal with kids who can't read. And I mean, most of the time, it's not the child's fault, but it's frustrating for everybody involved nonetheless.
You know something that's shocking to me? That there are so many kids reading below level. There are first, second, third graders that hardly know their ABCs. 2/3 of 4th grade students are reading below level. That's 66% of 4th graders. The reading crisis in America is not something that just started. This has been an issue for a while, even before the pandemic. There are many factors that play into it, like the curriculum, teacher training programs, teachers not trained in literacy and phonics, and parent involvement. As teachers, we try to encourage parents to do ABCs and read to their children, but the thing is, in a perfect world, parents would do that just because. And some parents will say, oh, I take them to school to learn that, but they can learn their ABCs long before they get into school. So when parents aren't on board with doing that, it just makes the job 10 times harder, especially if their kid is struggling.
Elementary school kids are not reading. Kids are not reading. Kids cannot read. It doesn't matter if your child's at an A school or if your child's at a D school or if your child's at a charter school or a private school. I have seen kids at all areas. They all struggle. They all struggle because they don't have exposure and they don't have consistency with reading. We can blame the Department of Education. We can blame the literacy rates been at an all-time high. We can blame the schools, the teachers, but education teacher of 4 years, I specifically teach kids with learning disabilities how to read and to read accurately. We're not talking about teaching kids to read with special education disabilities. We're talking about teaching kids to read that have not had that exposure and that just cannot read, and no environmental factors included. Exposure and consistency. These two things are most important when reading, and these kids are not exposed to reading at a young age, and they do not have consistent reading, whether that's at school, at home. They don't have enough exposure of reading in general. The perception of teaching kids to read is it is the teacher's job to teach their children to read. It is the school's job to teach their children to read. Have you been in a public education classroom recently? Teacher to student ratio makes it nearly impossible to differentiate all different reading levels consistently. And I'm talking every single day for targeted reading instruction. You can have the most experienced and most knowledgeable reading expert teaching your child. If you are not doing it consistently, and I mean at least 4 times a week, 15 to 20 minutes a session, it's not going to be effective. If you have elementary school kids that are reading at grade level or even below grade level, get them a tutor, get them extra support to give them those skills to have them be successful with reading. Reading is not meant to be natural, but you need consistency, exposure, and somebody that is qualified and knows the science of reading for it to be successful for any child in a short amount of time.
People are not scared enough of the fact that children can't read, and that it is a real crisis here in America. And there are 4 documentaries that you need to watch immediately about the topic, because over 60% of children are reading below grade level. Let's get into it. First one is called Sentenced, and I actually watched this on Peacock, and I live in the United States. Second one is called The Truth About Reading, and I, again, live in the United States and was able to watch this one on Tubi. Other one is called The Right to Read. Just look this one up and see where it's available to you. Lastly, Hopeville, How to Win the Reading Wars. Again, look this one up and see where it's available to you. Don't think enough people understand the ramifications that not being able to read fluently is going to have in years to come, but these children are falling behind in almost every aspect of their life because of the illiteracy crisis. Children not knowing or understanding or comprehending very basic sentences is going to have very detrimental effects on them, their peers, and honestly, our future, because we need these children to become our next doctors, lawyers, nurses, etc. And they simply aren't. So please watch these and let me know what you think.
Hello, thank you for meeting with me. I just really need to talk to you about your daughter. Well, apparently she's been really struggling with the material in the class, and that material is reading. She's significantly behind her classmates, and we've been working with her one-on-one, but we've been feeling like there's been a need for more of a push, and we were wondering how much reading she does at home. None currently. Okay, well, perhaps we could start there. I don't think you realize like how significant 10 to 15 minutes at home could be. So if you could just, you don't want to. Okay, well, I think it could really help her because right now she's reading at a first grade level, but she's in third grade, and as you know, tests are coming up, and she has just not improved very much. And we are working with her. We're working with her one-on-one. We're giving her all the support that she needs, but this is something where an entire support system really needs to help out. So at home,
I'm absolutely crashing out over all of these videos about people talking shit on kids. Oh, the kids can't read. Oh, the kids are iPad kids. Oh, the kids are this, or the kids are that. 60% of American households are not surviving right now. And there's a correlation between a child being able to be present in school, learning, and their ability to eat food at home. So we're looking at kids like kids are the problem. Oh, the kids these days. It's not the fucking kids that are the problem. And for everyone who's sitting there talking shit on kids, teachers, you get a pass. This is not for you. Everyone who's sitting there talking shit on these kids, what are you doing about it?
In 2022, the Department of Education conducted a study, and they found that roughly a third of 4th and 8th graders are not able to read at a basic level. Children are also struggling with decoding from a phonics perspective and a reading perspective. So this starts to call into question who is responsible for our children not being able to read in schools. And this answer is a complex one because there's a lot of different moving pieces, right? You have the aspect from the family and the home life perspective, as well as the educational enterprise when these districts and these institutions are outsourcing educational experts to come in and create curriculum that is then taught to students. You also have to look at this from a schooling perspective. Schooling, education, teaching, curriculum, and design, even though they all act under educational enterprises, meaning elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, community colleges, and universities, they are all not the same thing. And so when you hear me say education, I'm not just talking about schooling, right? Because a lot of times we only hear the word education intertwined with school. And yes, there are similarities. Yes, education has been used in exchange of schooling, but schooling and education are vastly different, just as teaching and curriculum are vastly different as well. And so this also calls into question, where is reading taking place?
So the literacy crisis is not an isolated American incident. It's a global one. I mean, as a teacher who has taught American kids, British kids, African kids, I can tell you, and I can definitely confirm, that the inability to read and write is a global disaster. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.